Hello, Earth signs, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. So I am doing your guys' reading bundled together as the element because I feel like there's a lot of similar things going on with each element this month. So sorry you guys are a little bit late into the month, but there's been a lot going on, and you guys don't need to hear that from me. It's been kind of a fighting type of mood. Everyone's seems to be fighting. Anyway, so Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo, I am going to use goddess cards because I'm going to go back to my roots a little bit and decide, and I decided to just use the goddess deck because I was getting bored of the same old routine. So I'm just changing it up a little bit because I know you guys can get bored as well, and I just want to see what it's like just to go back to how I started and not use multiple decks just for this particular reading with the elements. So the first two cards out, I'm just going to start with this. Denial and the Palladian Star Goddess card, which is interesting because the Star card is about hopes and dreams and desires and achieving those. But denial, something bigger. We have been fighting, you guys have been fighting for what you want for a really long time. And this card is the first card that came out, which means this energy is a denial, possibly within yourself, that maybe if you tried something and failed, or you tried and it didn't work out the way that you thought it was going to, that you won't be able to achieve what you really want to achieve in the long run because you had a hurdle to jump through. But I think the fight energy is good sometimes because it gets us to our destination. And it's funny, I just mentioned going back to my roots, and of course I pulled the Star card, the Aquarius card here. And I think you guys have just been in this routine. You've been stuck in a certain routine, and I think it's been draining, and I think there's an opportunity for growth. But in order to grow, you really have to accept what your issues may be, right? So denial is part of that. If you're still in the denial, you can't grow. If you really just don't believe that you're doing anything wrong, or if you believe that you don't have a problem, then of course you're not going to get better because you don't think there's anything wrong. You don't have a problem. But if we start to look at what the problem actually is within us, and I know that's difficult, and I know that's not something that it's not the easiest thing to do, but it is the most eye-opening, and it does have to do a lot with shadow work and looking at the parts of ourselves that we don't like, the parts of us that we cringe at, and really starting to accept those instead of trying to push them down and push them away. We can start to accept those and then hopefully have us eventually achieve our hopes and dreams and our wishes and our goals. And always that guiding light, you guys. You have to follow that light. And I think that's why we have this fighting energy going on with earth signs. We're not letting things go. We're not letting things slip past us. We're really just on the money. And that could get frustrating. It could get annoying. It could get tiring, and I understand that. We have power, Lilith. such a beautiful card. This Aries energy of woman empowerment and being on top. And Lilith actually, funny enough, tricked God into giving her wings so she could escape from Adam. That is the definition that they have in the goddess deck. But what I like to say is that she just reached deep down and found her power, and she finally just flew away, and she got to her destination, and to be on top of the world and be free of that patriarchy or whatever it is that you're trying to escape from. It could be, escaping from a difficult job situation, a difficult work environment. It could also be a difficult relationship that you've been trying to figure out if you should stay or go or text or call or whatever's going on. And if there's been a lot of fighting, I think that energy is important to pay attention to, because being in denial of that and suppressing that is actually hindering you from growing. So if you come up and you say, okay, so now I accept the fact that I've been, I've been argumentative, or I've been too docile, or I've been too whatever the situation is, learn to accept that and not push it down. Accept that that's part of you and that you're human and you can grow from that, and get your wings and fly away. Or fly towards what you really want. And I know with Capricorn and Virgo, especially, you guys have been stuck in this routine that is isolation. 3 of Swords. So in the traditional deck, it is the heart being stabbed 3 times, and in the goddess deck, it's isolation. So are you distancing yourself? Are you being really closed off? And sometimes when we're in that fight or flight mode, we tend to withdraw, and we tend to go to a place that may or may not be, the best place mentally, or the healthiest place. And I know this goes for Taurus too, but I'm specifically saying Capricorn and Virgo. If you're stuck in that routine of feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm mad at myself for this, and I do this wrong, and I'm bad at this, and I can't do this, and all these things. If you just focus on all these things that you cannot do or that you're not doing, instead of focusing on the good things about yourself and the positive things that you've achieved, you can get stuck in that fight mode and that isolation mode, and you can be distant from your family and your friends and your loved ones, or you may be pushing them away. And then Taurus, I was going to mention, there's something specific going on with you guys that is about reaching out and for help, and if you have reached out, that is a positive thing, of course, but it's also teaching you that asking for help is okay. And that goes for Taurus, but all earth signs. Ace, ecstasy. So we have Ace of Cups here, which is a beautiful brand new beginning of peace and love and opening up to a new chapter. And it doesn't have to be a big, huge, ginormous change. It doesn't have to be a big, huge deal to start a new chapter of your life, mentally and emotionally. It can just be work within you. And sometimes people don't understand what I mean by that when I say work on yourself. Working on yourself just means, to me, it means basically just accepting your flaws and accepting, it's difficult. I'm talking like it's easy, but accepting your flaws and making sure that you're not beating yourself up too much. right? Because when we get in that fight mode, sometimes we go into a cycle of being mad at ourselves for things that we cannot control sometimes. So with this feeling to need to fly away, there's a lot of cardinal energy here and water energy. So needing to fly away and needing movement. We need something, we need the ball to get rolling. So in order to get where you want to be, we have to open our heart chakras. We have to open up a little bit more emotionally, which is very difficult. I know. Very difficult. But it will get us to where we need to be. And I know you guys are going to maybe not agree with me about, being in denial, because who's going to agree that they're in denial, right? And usually when the denial card comes out, well, it is a Scorpio energy, and it's a water energy. It can mean just emotionally that we are stuck in kind of a negative mental headspace, right? So it's not necessarily like you're in denial about everything and that you're not observant and aware. It just means that maybe we're being too hard on ourselves and we aren't seeing the bright side of what could be. Okay, you guys. Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus, thank you guys for being patient and listening to this reading. I am sending you guys so much love, and I'm glad that you guys are sticking around with me. So if you'd like to subscribe, that would be awesome. It helps keep the channel running, and if you want a private reading, my link is down below, or you can follow me on Instagram for updates and all that good stuff. So I love you guys, and have a good month.